Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Question Block. In last week, I asked, which new features in Tears of the Kingdom are you excited about the most? So I will be discussing the responses in this video, and the Joka said, I'm incredibly excited to find out all the surprises this game has to offer, like finding new locations and seeing how high in the sky I can go. The item fusing system also seems like it could have so many possibilities. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of this game that was kind of kept secret, and now I kind of understand why. Well, I mean, I kind of always assumed it would be because of how exciting they would be like found in the game and kind of experienced in the final game. But I feel like it's actually partially a good thing that they're keeping this game a secret. I mean, there were some definitely some cons on Nintendo's part that they were keeping too many things a secret, but I think it's definitely going to be pretty exciting to see what's new about this game and to discover the new things about this game and everything, because I feel like that's definitely going to be pretty exciting. Like, honestly, I feel like I'm kind of glad, like, to a degree, that I don't really know too much about the inner workings of this game, because I think it would be really cool to discover a lot of these things and just to kind of put my hands on it and kind of find out what this game has to offer and everything. It just seems like they're doing so many interesting things here, and the structure seems to be so much different from Breath of the Wild, despite having a similar world. So I'm just really excited about that in general. Unknown said, I think the fusing gimmick where I can make other things into new things. It's something I always wanted to make in Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, the fusing mechanic looks really interesting, like both the fusing mechanic and the Ultra Hand thing. So, with Ultra Hand, like making the vehicles looks to be a really interesting way of kind of making different ways of traversing, like both the ground and also like the water and the sky as well. Like there seems to be a lot of depth into that, because they showed in like the trailers and also the gameplay footage that released in the past 2 months, there seems to be like a lot of possibilities of what you can do. Like there's like the capsule thing where you can get like different things such as fans or rockets or things that can kind of propel your creations, and then you could also like fuse things together like rocks, logs, whatever you find, like a door laying somewhere, something that you previously used with Magnesis in the previous game, like any of the things in the world, you can just stick together and make a vehicle out of it. It looks really intuitive with the way they have it presented, and it looks really fun overall. As someone who's a pretty big fan of Minecraft and Mario Maker, and even games like Game Builder Garage, I think it's really cool to see that there's like a way to kind of build things and put things together in this game, because I've always enjoyed games where you can be creative. So I'm glad that they're kind of adding that element to Zelda. I know not everyone is interested in it, but I'm sure they'll have some alternatives for the people who aren't as interested as in like doing their own thing in the game. But I feel like it really just expands the scope and the vision of Breath of the Wild with being able to kind of do your own thing. And I feel like being creative and kind of making your own vehicles and contraptions and things really makes sense, and it really kind of fits the theming of the whole Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom sphere of this part of Zelda. And also the fusing mechanic with weapons is pretty interesting as well, since it's kind of an alternative to crafting, and is kind of similar to crafting in some ways. And I feel like it definitely kind of partially fixes the weapon degradation system in the game. And yeah, I feel like it definitely helps with that, and it definitely helps have more an incentive to kind of go out and kind of get things to fix your weapons without worrying about them like completely breaking and everything, and kind of making your weapons stronger in general and kind of having control over how your weapons work. So I really like that, and I feel like that's definitely an upgrade for the weapon system in Breath of the Wild. So yeah. Eclavia Buhair said, I just want the game to be a Zelda game, not like Breath of the Wild. So, yeah, I could definitely see the similarities to Breath of the Wild in this game, because, I mean, the world seems to be pretty similar, like, on the ground and everything, but I feel like there probably is going to be enough changes in this game to make it, like, a whole separate experience. From what I've heard and the gameplay that I've seen, it seems like it's going to have a very different structure from Breath of the Wild. They're going to change enough about it to where it feels like a different experience overall. So I'm not really too worried about this game being too similar to Breath of the Wild. Like, I feel like the more and more that I'm seeing of this game, it's looking to be like not really like a direct expansion to Breath of the Wild, rather it's just like kind of using the base template of Breath of the Wild structure, kind of like how Majora's Mask uses a similar structure to Ocarina of Time in terms of like graphical engines and um models and things like that and assets. But it seems like this game will have like a lot that will kind of separate it from Breath of the Wild, especially gameplay wise, because it seems like they're gonna have like a whole new thing here, not really anything connected to the runes of the previous game. So I feel like it's definitely gonna be a different experience overall. So Platy said the Sky Islands, and yeah, the Sky Islands look pretty interesting. They seem to be pretty expansive, and it seems like they'll definitely cover a lot of the new area in this game, because it seems like they're kind of spread out on different levels of altitude. So, and some of them look to be pretty expansive. Like some of them were actually like look to be like almost half the size of like a region in Breath of the Wild. And there seem to be like a ton of different islands, like varying in size, like throughout the world. And but yeah, most of the footage they couldn't even really like show all of the Sky Islands that were visible. Like there were some that were kind of like above the clouds, it seemed. So it's going to be really interesting to explore some of these Sky Islands. And the fact that they're adding like more verticality in this game is just really interesting overall. Like it seems to be going like over like a kilometer up into the sky, which is pretty interesting. Like at some of the points, it's probably even higher than what they've been showing in some of the trailers. So I think it's pretty interesting, and I'm really looking forward to that. So Spectrali said, "Hot Ganon." You mean Ganondorf? But yeah, I get your idea. But yeah, I really like Ganondorf's design in this game. It's cool that they're finally bringing him back, because I believe the last time Ganondorf was in a mainline Zelda game was Twilight Princess, which was, I think, about 17 years ago, which is wild to think about. Like I can't believe it's been that long since it had the full trio of Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf. Like it's pretty cool to see him finally be in this game and everything. I feel like it was definitely speculated ever since the first trailer that Ganondorf was going to be in the game. I definitely thought that they were going to bring back Ganondorf, but he's rehydrated and he has a really cool design. Definitely my favorite design out of all of the previous Ganondorf designs. So yeah. So Monster Creeper 64 said underground. So yeah, the caves are something that they really haven't touched on much in the trailers. I know there were kind of like some clips that seem to be in the caves, but I feel like the caves are basically confirmed. I mean, I haven't looked at any of the leaked gameplay or anything because I'm avoiding spoilers, but from what I've seen, the cave system seems to be pretty interesting because it showed on that one trailer that Nintendo released. Like there was someone like over like 400 meters underground. So I thought that was pretty interesting overall. And like I think like some of the areas in the caves are like dark and you have to light them up with like either holding a torch, like kind of lighting torches, or hitting like a light arrow, like an arrow with not literally the light arrows from Breath of the Wild, but I think there's like a fruit in the game that you could attach to an arrow, like with the fuse mechanic. and then shoot onto something and then it will light up the area. That seems to be pretty interesting, and yeah, they really haven't elaborated much on the caves in the game, but I feel like they're probably going to have some pretty interesting surprises, since they really haven't, like, shown much of them. So the Awesome Noah said, even if I haven't really seen any footage or trailers of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, I'm excited that there's a sequel of Breath of the Wild, because that game was great. Yeah, in general, I'm just really glad that they are, like, making this game in general, or that they have made this game, because Breath of the Wild is one of my favorite games of all time, and it was just a great experience overall. And I'm glad that Tears of the Kingdom is expanding upon it and kind of revitalizing that world in a lot of different ways. And yeah, I'm just kind of like excited in general, just due to the fact that it's a sequel to the Breath of the Wild. So, Jack Attack Gaming said, the feature I'm most excited for in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is the new ways of combat, like in Breath of the Wild. Like, it's cool that you could pick up items from enemies, such as bokoblins, and other stuff like that, but now there's the Ultra Hand, where you can put a mushroom with a branch to make a hammer, and even with the E3 trailer, where Link had a flamethrower shook things up from, the usual Master Sword. So I'm most excited for the combat and new weapons in Tears of the Kingdom, and I just realized I still gotta finish Breath of the Wild. yeah, I hope you finish Breath of the Wild before Tears of the Kingdom releases. But yeah, the combat seems to be really in-depth with this game. Like, some of the pre-release footage and press footage that I've seen, it seems like there's gonna be a lot involved here. Like, with the recall mechanic, like, kind of, like, from some of the footage I've seen, like, it seems like, with the spiked balls, like, some of the, like, enemies were kind of pushing towards Link, you can just, like, rewind that and then kind of have that go back towards the enemies. And then also fuse things together, and, like, with that whole mechanic, like I mentioned, it's, like, a really, interesting alternative to crafting that I really like, and it's definitely gonna make the combat feel interesting. And then also with the arrows as well, like, with different different items kind of affecting the condition of the arrows seems to be pretty interesting. So yeah, the combat seems to be really interesting, and it's definitely shaping up to be really in-depth in this game. So I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, those were the responses to the question that I had. So yeah, the question for next week is, what is your favorite video game soundtrack, and why? Let me know down in the comments. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server if you want to. Goodbye.